Hello guys and welcome back to the MD Investor channel. MD Investor on YouTube, channel where we talk about personal finance, setting goals, achieving goals, everything personal finance related, breaking the cycle of generational poverty, teaching our children financial information so they can be financially savvy. On Instagram, MD Investor 1. New video today, guys. New video today. How do you know if you have a spending problem or an income problem? How do you know whether you have a spending problem or an income problem? Got to be one or the other, right? Either you are not making enough money, therefore you have an income problem, or you're spending too much of the money that you do make. You have a spending problem. Okay, so we have our income coming in, right? Every month. And then we have our expenses being taken out. What's left over, the net amount, or the remainder, the balance, is basically our discretionary income, what's left over. And that's what we have to invest with. That's what we have to make additional payments on debt to speed up the debt process. That's what we have to invest in our kids 5 through 9. That's basically the margin we have to get the stuff done that we've been talking about in all these videos. Okay? So if the difference between your income and your expenses is zero, you have no margin, you have no excess, then none of these videos are going to matter to you, right? What's the point of talking about Roth IRA, regular IRA, 5 through 9 for college for kids, investing in index funds, if you have no money? Doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. So this is very important for us to make sure we have margin, okay? So you can't create wealth without that difference, okay? You need that difference, okay? You need that difference between your income and your expenses to use it to create wealth, okay? Like I said, without the difference, you won't be able to do the debt snowball or the debt avalanche, which we was talking about, okay? Because you ain't got no extra money to pay off the debt, okay? You won't be able to invest in your retirement account because the difference between your income and expenses is zero. You won't be able to do that. Investing for your children, forget about that. You can't do that. Paying for college for them for 5 through 9, the Coverdale Educational Savings account we're talking about, you can't do that. You have no margin, okay? If the difference between your income and your expenses is zero, you're basically living check to check, right? The money comes in, and then you use every single penny of that money to pay your necessary expenses to live. There's nothing left over, okay, for you to plan and project to the future, okay? All of the fun stuff we talk about, okay? Investing in rental properties and getting passive income, and investing in dividend stock. You won't be able to do any of that stuff because you have no margin. So how do you know? Well, let's first look at income problem. How do you know if you have an income problem? Okay. How do you know if you have an income problem? First thing I would suggest is look at the median income. Look at the national statistic. Look at the median income in the U.S. compared it to what you make. The median income in the U.S. for the last year they have record in 2018 was $63,179. The median income in the U.S. in 2018 was $63,179. Now, to remind you, the median income is the income where 50% of the people make above that and 50% of the people make below that. So you kind of smack in the middle. It's different from the average. That's something also you want to look at. The average, or the arithmetic average, is basically the mean. The mean is the average. Take all the income, where they get it from, like I think the Social Security website, and then take it divided by the number of people, number of people, which you get from the census, and you get an average income in 2017 is about $48,251.57. You see how that's a little different than the median, right? So when you hear the median, don't think average, think like the midpoint. Half of the people make above that, half are below that. Average income in 2017 is about $48,251. In 2018, they said the average income went up about $2,000, about $50,321. So I said, look at the median, look at the average in the U.S., and I also look at the statistics in your city. So I live in New York City or New York City area. Look at the average income in New York City. Look at the median. You might even get even more specific and look at your zip code. So that'll give you an idea. Where do you rank in terms of the average? Are you above the average? Are you below the average? Are you just a little above or significantly above? Are you a little below or significantly below? That'll kind of give you an idea of the income you're making. Where did it rank? Okay? Where did it rank? And based on that, that should give you a pretty good idea. See, I'm making above the average, or I'm at the average, so I'm making enough money, considering this area where I'm living in, I should be maybe further ahead. Okay? It's not in that case you say, well, maybe it's not an income problem. I seem to be doing okay financially. Now, after your analysis and everything, and you say you do decide, I have an income problem. I'm just not making enough money coming in. And that's why I'm in this financial bind. What can I do? Well, you need to get your income up. Well, you already knew that. Right? You need to get your income up. Such as what? Well, you might have to get an additional job, right? You might have to work more hours. You may have to get maybe more training, maybe go back to school to try to get your income up. They got side jobs, they got hustles. You may have to be a little uncomfortable for a while, okay? You might have to maybe give up some weekends. You might have to give up some nights. You might have to do some stuff that's a little temporarily uncomfortable for you to get up your income, okay? If you ever done the assessment and you say, you know what, my problem, I need more money, I need an income, I need to get my income up. So you might be a little temporarily uncomfortable, okay? Now let's move on. What if it's on the other side of the coin, right? Do we have a spending problem? Right? That's the other side of the coin. Do we have a spending problem? Where in that case, we say we're making enough money. The money coming in is enough based on the national average, the average in my city, in my zip code. I'm making enough money. But what if I have a spending problem, right? I don't know if I have a spending problem. To assess that, you have to go through your budget, line by line. Go through your budget with a fine-tooth comb. Don't leave no stone unturned. Everything. I could probably do it for a couple of months, but everything. Go through and see, where does the money go? And a couple of questions I want you to ask yourself after you're going through them is, need, want, and is there any alternatives? So let's keep that in mind. Need, want, or are there any alternative? I want you to go through everything. Leave nothing unturned. Housing. Is this house too expensive for us? This apartment too expensive for us? Can we get a alternative? What alternative do we have? Can we go to a smaller house, a smaller apartment? Can we move to a neighborhood that's maybe the mortgage is a little cheaper? Nothing is going to be sacred. There's no sacred cows here. Everything is on the table, and everything is going to be discussed. Car. Are we comfortable paying this lease? This lease price? The average car lease in America is $500 per month. Are we comfortable paying $500 a month to something that we'll never own? Are we comfortable buying this brand new car, which is a depreciating asset, and it's taking out this amount of money per month? Options. Can we sell this, use the money that we get, and buy a car that's maybe 2 or 3 years old for cash, and then ride that sucker until the wheels fall off? Nothing is going to be sacrosanct. Nothing going to be a sacred cow. Insurance. Can we call and try to negotiate and try to get our insurance rates down? School for the kids. The school they're going to. Are we really getting value? What's the cost to it? Credit cards. Are we paying late fees? Do we need to set up automatic payments? We need to knock these bills out. Vacations. How many vacations are we taking? Are we taking 2, 3 vacations a year? Can we tighten this up? Can we cut this down until we get on board? Look at our internet. Cable. The cell phones. How many times a week are we dining out? Is this really necessary? Clothes. What are we wearing? The gym membership. When's the last time we've been to the gym? What alternative? Magazines, periodicals, subscription. Everything is on the table. Okay? When you think you have a spending problem, you have to look at everything on the table. And it's a very rare person where you go through their budget and you say, man, we can't find nothing to cut, man. Everything is tight like a drum. We can't find nothing to cut. That's a very rare person. In other words, if you go through the budget line by line and look and have everything on the table and really discuss needs, wants, and alternatives, you're going to find something to cut. You're going to find some waste. You're going to find some fat. You're going to find something to cut. Okay? So that's why, especially toward the end of the year, begin to reassess and go through the budget. Don't just automatically run to 2020 and say, well, we've been doing it for a year, we're going to continue doing it. No, reevaluate it. Go through it, okay? Maybe you'll be able to cut and save $500. You say, you know what? After we did this, we made some changes, we did this, and you guess what? We were able to find $500. We were able to find $1,000. We were able to find $1,500. Guess what? That money is now something you can use to invest into your dreams. Okay? And if after going through that, you find that you do have a spending problem, what are you going to do? Well, if you find there's a spending problem, you got to make changes, right? If you find that there's a spending problem, you're going to have to make changes. We've talked about a lot of them, okay? If you realize that, the house is too much, are you willing to do what it takes to sell the house? Are you willing to downsize? Are you willing to move and go to an apartment that's a little cheaper, maybe a cheaper area? Are you willing to sell a car and to buy a car that's maybe not brand new with all the bells and whistles, but you buy it by cash, you own it, and you now have freed up cash for your investments, okay? For your future self. Okay? Are you willing to maybe pack your lunch instead of going out to dinner 5 times a week? Okay? But let's be honest. It's going to be tough. Why? Because we're human beings and we are habitual creatures, right? Right? We're just what a habit is. After you get the habit, you kind of do it almost like on a subconscious level. You don't think about it. You just know. Oh, it's 12:30. Hey, Wayne, you ready to go eat? Oh yeah, let's go. What are we ordering? Where are we going? Okay, here's my credit card. Swipe it. You're an autopilot, man. You're an autopilot. And it's going to be tough. And you got to be aware of that. It's going to be tough, okay? When I used to go out to lunch Monday through Friday, and now, you're thinking, well, you know what? I got to pack some of the dinner that's left over in a Tupperware to take it to work tomorrow. Or I'm going to have to, go to a restaurant, not a restaurant, go to the supermarket and get bread and get a cold cuts and get my my turkey and cheese and prepare it, let it tomato, make my sandwich, or I'm gonna take my tuna. You know what I'm saying? You have to start thinking. It's not comfortable because I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to just go to work and order a slice and that's it. Okay, but you're gonna be have to get the used to being a little uncomfortable for a little while. Okay. When you're used to taking 2 or 3 international vacations out of the country per year, and now you say, we're going to pump the brakes, we're gonna say, we're gonna, maybe go some what they call staycation, or maybe some, maybe very local travel where we get in a car and we drive, maybe an hour, hour and a half away, and just kind of, somewhere local, or maybe we do like there's a staycation. We stay home, and we kind of, But when I used to stay at home on vacation, well, that's something that you're gonna have to get used to and have it in your mind that it might not be for always, but for now, this is where we are. Okay, Dave Ramsey had a saying where he said, "Live like no one else will, so you can live like no one else can." Live like no one else will, so you can live like no one else can. So what he's saying is that while you're eating rice and beans, taking your lunch to work, tuna fish and all that stuff, and taking the leftovers, and everybody else is having their latte and their cappuccino and going out, I'm spending $20 on lunch. You're living like no one else will, because most people don't want to do that. And then after you're investing, you have the compound interest and all the other stuff that we were talking about. Now, when you're able to do stuff that they can't do, like retire early, like create a huge amount of passive income where you don't have to depend on your job and have freedom. That's what he means by live like no one else will, so you can live like no one else can later. But the bottom line is this, guys. It's going to be temporarily uncomfortable. This is what they call delayed gratification. I'm doing some stuff right now that I don't really like, I don't enjoy, but I'm looking to the future. I'm looking past this. We did Sunday school last week, and the scripture went over where he said where Jesus was looking beyond the cross for the joy that was set before him. Looking beyond the cross, because the cross represented suffering, right? The cross represented suffering and death, but he was looking beyond it, because he knew that suffering and death, no matter how painful it was not going to last forever. Like the Bible said, this too shall pass. So he was looking beyond it, right? For the joy that was set before him. And the joy that was set before him was the glory that he had with the Father before the world was. So in his mind, he was thinking, I'm looking to get that joy back that I had with the Father before the world was. What about the suffering, Jesus? I got to go through it. It ain't going to last forever. It's temporary. And so it is with us too. I know I don't want to pack my lunch every day. I know I don't want to do a staycation all the time. I want to go away and go to Paris and France and England and take cruises. But for right now, I got to suffer and do the staycation. For now, I got to suffer and do the stuff that I don't want to do. Why? So, like I said, we're going to live like no one else will right now. So later on, we can live like no one else can. The bottom line is, your desire for freedom has to be greater than your dislike for being temporarily uncomfortable. What are they saying? Your desire for freedom and all the stuff, the dream that you have for yourself and the family, your desire for that has to be greater than the dislike you have for being temporarily uncomfortable. The temporary uncomfortableness is only going to last for a short time, but it's going to be a long time. You're going to be enjoying that financial freedom. It's going to be a long time. You're going to be enjoying all those dreams that you have, and you see it coming to fruition. So guys, there's a quick video guide about whether it's the income problem or it is an expense problem or spending problem, and figure out which one it is and be willing to make the change. MD Investor in the house again. MD Investor. If there's people out there you think could benefit from this information, definitely send them the link, send them the information. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Definitely hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content comes out. On Instagram, MD Investor 1. On YouTube, MD Investor. I will see you on the next video.